Let's have a look at the 2015 history one paper, right? So we're just going to be going through the things that we've done already, right? Yeah, so if I've done it already, I'm just going to circle them and move on, right? And if I see a new question, then I do it. All right, so just the following provides evidence of contact between the Europeans. All right. So this would have been the present Americas, Balboa's records, which of the following was not a feature of the indigenous mainland societies. This would have been worship of one god. The main factor, this is the contact of the desire of some European countries to breach the monopoly, right? The changes the first trade with Africa. This is around the 15th century, I do believe. It may be the 13th century because Africa is right across the Mediterranean there. But I guess we can move on. This will be the Columbian Exchange, which of the following was not an effect of Spanish settlement in the New World, mechanization within the tobacco industry, which of the following was the main purpose of the encomienda to provide labor from the Spanish. The events of La Noche Triste suggest that the success of the conquistadors in Mexico was mainly due to infectious diseases brought by the Spanish. Bartolome de las Casas was mainly associated with the campaign against encomienda. One of the consequences of the Inca Civil War was that the Inca military resistance was very weak, right? Because they were fighting an entire civil war. The main strategy used by Montezuma to prevent, okay, this would be offering pages, all right. So the main cause of death on the Middle Passage was disease, I believe. Which of the following factors best accounts for the European presence for preference for Africans? This would probably be tropical areas, right? So 18, which of the following statements best reflects the current thinking on the debate regarding the family unit during the Caribbean, during slavery, I mean. So families were nearly she has the family units. The family unit was highly matrifocal, right? The gender blind policies, this was for female enslaved, right? Which of the following most likely reflected experiences of enslaved females? Right? Modern societies pose a serious threat because they serve as a constant reminder, right? What West Indian planters gave provision grounds mainly to decrease the food expenses, which of the following strategies of economic survival was mainly used by the enslaved in the Caribbean, mainly cultivating provision grounds, which of the following actions were used by enslaved women as methods of resistance? I believe all of the P's 2, 3, and 4. The Haitian Revolution was fought mainly because enslaved people wanted their freedom. In which of the following factors best accounts for the success of the Haitian Revolution? The hilly terrain and the interior and facilitated guerrilla warfare. Which of the following statements accurately reflects, right, this? The recognized freedom of enslaved persons when they revolt to England. Well, to Britain, I mean. Then there's a difference. They claim that the reduction in profits, this would be the decline thesis, one of the provisions of the amelioration proposals. This, I think, would probably be C, but please have a look at it and tell me if you have a different answer. Alright, which of the following events galvanized the support for the abolitionists? Alright, this would have been all of them. Which of the following factors was a consequence of emancipation? Right, we had this. Which of the following, the most popular occupation of the women would be hucksters. The main factor that attracted peasants to the free villages would have been the independence and independence and sense of self that it was afforded them. 34. The main contribution of the peasantry to the Caribbean This would be the diversification of the economy. Why did planters in British Guiana import more indentured laborers than their Jamaican coupons? The enslaved population was much smaller than that in Jamaica. The creation of free society in Haiti, this was hindered by the forced labor, which of the main factor which accounted for the West Indian planters' decision to use Indian indentured laborers was that Indians were probably more available. I remember that the Chinese government put restrictions, which are the following one simmering pot. This would be the health and state of the Caribbean, poor Caribbean people. Which of the following statements describes associated statehood? Means that they control their internal affairs while the British control their foreign affairs. During the first 2 years of the Cuban Revolution, the strategies were nationalization and collectivism. In the 1970s, the major advantages of Cuba were in areas of health and education. One of the policies of the Cuban government towards the Caribbean, this would be to help other third world nations become liberated. The picture then of two islands in the Caribbean almost totally oriented to France and content to be in that position. This would speak to, I would believe, not Dominica, not Aruba, not St. Lucia, would be Martinique and Guadeloupe. In the French Overseas Department, the prefect's responsibility is to represent the state of France. And which of the following territories was not an overseas department of France? Haiti. So this was the end of the 2015 History Unit 1, Paper 1.